I am here in my living room this morning because we are social distancing, but still fitnessing. And I'm in my pajamas and I have a cup of coffee because quarantine rules are airport rules. So you're allowed to wear pajamas all day and drink more than 6 cups of coffee. Don't let anyone tell you different. Okay, today I just have my rug. I don't even have a mat, so just find a soft area and something that your heel will slide along on the floor. So I have a Tupperware lid. You can use a plate, a piece of cardboard, something along those lines. Please, for the love of God, if you use a plate, put it in the dishwasher after because your foot's gonna be all up on it. Okay, let's go. We're gonna start with a slightly different warm-up just because today is a little more strength-based, so I want you guys to be nice and warm as we start. So first, I'm just gonna have you reach up to the sky, stretch out your ribs, take a few deep breaths, and stretch down to your hamstrings. Let your body hang. And back up towards the sky. Reach your shoulders back. Feel your ribs open up. And back down. From this hamstring stretch, we're gonna go into a deep squat. I want you to bend and reach for your hamstrings. Fall back into a deep squat. So we're hamstring stretch. Spread out your feet a little bit. Deep squat. Feel it in your groin. Feel your hips spread out. Back to hamstring. And down into a deep squat. Hopefully you guys can hear me. There's trucks driving by my road all the time, so ignore the white noise happening in the background. Down into a deep squat. One more time, up into a hamstring stretch. And down to a squat. All right, let's stretch out our hips a little bit. So I'm going to have you kneeling on the floor. I want you to rotate your pelvis forward, tuck your hips under, and then lean forward into that front leg and feel a nice stretch down this side of your leg. So you're gonna feel it pull right in the front of your hip. Lean into it as much as you can. If any of my clients are watching this, Sam, Joe, you guys all have crappy hip flexors. You should be doing this at home. And we're gonna switch to the other side. So again, rotate your pelvis forward, tuck your butt under, and lean into that leg. Feel it all the way down the front of your thigh. One more time on the right side. Rotate your hips under, push forward into that bottom leg. And switch. All right, we are gonna go into some 90-90. So first I'm gonna have you internally rotate one leg at 90, externally rotate the other hip at 90. Using no arms, we're pulling only from the hip joint. You're gonna bring this hip up as far as you can into external rotation. Get it to your very end range of motion before you let your other hip follow. Then starting with this hip, we're gonna go down into internal rotation as far as you can. Really get to that end range of motion, feel a good stretch, and let your other hip follow. Again, back the other way, we're starting with this leg first. Bring it all the way out into external rotation. And up. Down with this leg first, all the way into internal rotation. Push to your end range of motion. And lean into the stretch. A couple more times. Going out with one leg first. So you let the other one follow. Down with your opposite leg into internal rotation. And let the other one follow. These should start feeling easier the more we go through them. In the beginning, you're going to be a little tight. Hip flexors aren't really ready to go yet, but that's why we're doing this together. Mine are not quite ready this morning. Down. Up first with your outer leg into external rotation. Let the other one follow. Down with one leg into internal. And let the other hip follow. Now that we're in 90-90 this way, I want you to just lean forward directly over your front thigh and get a good stretch into that hip. You should feel this in the bottom of your hip towards your glute. Come back up and we're gonna lean our shoulder toward our heel. So you're gonna side bend and lean into that back hip. Leave that front leg on the ground and feel it all along the inside of this hip. Back to the front, lean your torso over your thigh, bend forward to feel the stretch on the bottom of your hip. What we don't want here is any rounding of your back, so we're hinging directly from the hip joint and pulling our torso forward. Really fall into it. And one more time on the left side, send your left shoulder towards your left heel, side bend, and get a good stretch in that inside of that left hip. And we're gonna switch. First, we're gonna lean over our left leg, lean our torso directly over our thigh, hinge at the hip, and feel that stretch on the bottom of your leg. And bring your right shoulder towards your right heel. Side bend over this hip. Feel that stretch in the middle of your leg on the right side. And back forward over your front leg. Bring your torso directly over your thigh and lean forward into it. If you're moving slow this morning and you want to take some more time to just sit in these positions, you can. Do what you feel like you need today. This is my class, but I can't even see it, so I don't know if you're doing it. All right, now we're gonna get into a little bit more strengthening, a little bit more difficult hip work. So progress and regress as needed. So what that means is I'm gonna do what feels right for my body. If you get into a position and it's painful, regress it. So come out of it a little bit, go back into a stretch where you feel comfortable. If you get into a position and it feels really easy, I'll show you some progressions so you can move past that, so you can kind of challenge yourself a little bit more. Okay, first one we're gonna do is a simple Cossack squat. So you're gonna start with a wide base, and you're gonna go down to one side as far as you can into a lunge. Turn that outer toe towards the ceiling and feel the stretch all the way in your hamstring. So this is about where I'm at with my Cossack squat, down this slow. Come back up, and we're gonna go down on the other side. Turn that foot towards the ceiling and feel the stretch along your hamstring. If you're not to this point yet, you can keep your Cossack squat wherever you feel comfortable. So if it's here, that's totally fine. Turn your foot up and feel the stretch there. To the other side, if this is your stopping point, that's fine. Go to what feels good for you. You can do this a couple more times on each side. Down and feel that stretch in your hamstring. Turn your foot up towards the ceiling. And to the other side. If you feel like you need something to keep you stable, feel free to use a wall in front of you. placing your hands on it as you go up and down just to give you that extra stability. Next one we're going to do is a Cossack squat with an axial rotation. So again, we're only moving from one hip joint at a time through all of these exercises. So we're going to come down to the right side into your Cossack squat. From here, I want you to take your foot and place it all the way forward against the ground. Rotating only from this hip joint, you're going to rotate it as far as you can out, up towards the ceiling, push it towards the back, towards that end range of motion, then bring it back forward down to the floor. Push it all the way back into external rotation, bring it down and touch the floor. So again, we're rotating only from this hip joint. You don't want to be leading with the foot or the knee. Working on the hips today, people. Down and touch the floor. Rotate out, push it away, back to the back wall. Down and touch the floor. And to the other side. Come into your Cossack squat, feel that stretch in your hamstring. First you're going to push your foot all the way back towards the back wall away from you, rotating at the hip. Then you're going to rotate your hip in, bring your foot down and touch the floor. Push it back, reach to your end range of motion. Rotate in and touch the floor. So we're still doing external, internal rotation of the hip. Now we're just doing it at our end range of motion up into extension. Down and touch the floor. Rotate back towards the back of the room. Down and touch the floor. One more time on the right side. Get into that Cossack squat. Again, if you're up here, that's totally fine. Do it where you're comfortable. So from up here, we're going to do the same thing. Push back and reach toward the back of the room. Rotate it down and touch the floor. Back and reach towards the back of the room. Down and touch the floor. If you need a wall, grab onto something to stabilize you. Get into your Cossack squat. Same thing. Send your hips back. Rotate down and touch the floor. Push your foot back towards the back of the room. Down and touch the floor. Again on the other side. Into your Cossack squat, push back towards the back of the room first. Remember, we're only rotating from this hip joint. Push, push, push to your end range of motion. Rotate in and touch the floor. Rotate out with that external rotation. Down to the floor. Really make sure you're leading from the hip here. We don't want the ankle moving first. We're going to move the knee, the hip, and the ankle all as one continuous unit. They should all rotate together. Down and touch the floor. All right, feel nice and warm, I hope. I am. Okay, let's go. We're going to do some Cossack squat glides. So this is where it's going to get a little bit harder. If you feel like you need something to keep your balance or to stabilize you, you can use a broom, drive it into the ground so you can balance yourself on it, or you can lead yourself with your hands, which I will explain as we go. Okay. The first step of this, you're going to come down into your Cossack squat on the side. Sit back into your hips. So my hips during this are always going back. We're hinging at the hips, sending them back, and sitting down into our Cossack squat. Okay, come down to the right side. From there, you're going to stay low and you're going to glide to your Cossack squat on the left side. Glide to the right. And to the left. So this is going to work all of these intrinsic hip stabilizers as you're keeping yourself stable low down. If you need to come up a little bit higher, if your Cossack squat is more up here, do the same thing. Shift at the height you're comfortable with. What I don't want is if you're down here in your Cossack squat, I don't want you coming up here to shift. So you're going to stay at the height that you're comfortable with. Shift over and relax into it. Shift to the left. Should be getting harder. My legs are shaking. Couple more times. And relax. Whew, those were tough this morning. All right, we're gonna keep on advancing. So this is one where you can use your hands easily to guide you. And you'll see as we kind of go through that how to do it. So again, we're sticking with our Cossack squat stance. You're gonna go down into the Cossack squat on your left. From here, you're going to sit. So drop your hips back and sit down onto the floor. From the side, this is going to look like this motion. Down into your Cossack squat. Drop your hips down and sit. So as you sit down, we don't want any of this because we're staying in control, people. This is one thing we can control right now. Down to the right side. Sit back onto your hips. Slow and controlled. If this motion is hard for you, feel free to use your hands to guide you. So as I come down, I'm gonna place one hand behind me, one hand in front, and guide my body down to the floor. So we're progressing up to no hands, but right now at a beginning level, we start with the hands to guide your body. So we're gonna go to the right side, down to the right side. Use your hands to guide you if you need to. Sit back onto the floor. From there, we're gonna get back up. This is where you're gonna need your hands. Put one in front of you, one behind you. You're gonna pull from your internal hip rotators. So pull yourself up, engage your core, back into that Cossack squat. Then we're gonna do the other side. Down into the Cossack squat. Sit back onto the floor. From here, engage your core, flex all your leg muscles, pull yourself back up into standing. Down onto the other side. Sit back, pull yourself up into standing. Onto the other side. Sit down onto the floor. Pull yourself up into standing. So, I'm going to show you a couple from the side, guiding myself with my hands if you're not quite to this level. We're going to go down into our Cossack squat. Place your hands on the floor to guide you. Sit back onto your hips. Rock forward onto your hips. Engage your core. Pull yourself up. Down to the other side. Use your hands to guide you. Sit back onto the floor. Place your hands back out in front of you. Pull yourself up. So as you're doing these, I want you to focus on putting most of the weight and tension through your legs, pushing with your legs and pulling with your legs as much as you can. But while we start, you're gonna have to put some of your body weight onto your hands. Pull yourself back up. Okay, I'm ready for my man. I'm sweating. I'm gonna have to open a window in my tiny apartment. Okay, I'm gonna do a couple more from the front, just at my normal flow. So if you're at this level, go ahead and follow along. If not, keep practicing these. The only way you're gonna get better is practice. So, you know, Thursday, I better see you back here. Obviously I can't see you, but you know, I'll know you're there. Okay, down to the right side. Sit back onto the floor. Engage that core and pull yourself up. Down to the other side. Sit back. Engage the core and pull yourself up. The only way you're gonna get better is practice, people. So as I'm pulling myself up, I'm clenching this thigh. I'm engaging my hamstring, driving my heel into the ground, pulling with these hip flexors, engaging my core. All my momentum is pushing forward towards the middle. So I'm pushing towards the middle and down to the outside. Push up towards the middle and down to the outside. Good, okay. Shake them out. Mine are feeling loose. All right, this is where you're going to need your preferably clean plate or Tupperware lid or piece of cardboard, whichever. Do not put it back in your cupboard after you use it. You nasty. Okay. So, I want you to place this under one of your heels. The reason we have this is so we can slide our leg easily in and out. If you're on a hard surface, you might be able to get away with using just a t-shirt under your foot that'll slide across the hard surface. So, we're gonna start with our left leg. I'm gonna go down onto my back, bring my hips up into a bridge. So, I'm gonna lift my hips off the ground, engage the core. We shouldn't feel this in the back, this should be all in the core. Now it's gonna be hard for me to talk through these, but I will do my best for you guys. Okay, we're gonna lift one leg. In this case, I'm lifting my right leg. The lid is under my left foot. From here, engage your core, push through your hamstring. You're gonna straighten this leg as far as you can. Now we're gonna pull it back in. Drive that heel into the ground, pull your hamstring, slide it back in. Keep those hips elevated. One more time, push out. Drive the heel into the ground, engage the hamstring, pull it back in. We want these very slow and controlled. We're working on eccentric movement here. So that means you're working on decelerating your body as your foot is going out. We want to remain in control the whole time. Switching to the other leg. Lift one foot, elevate the hips. We're going to push out as far as we can. Drive the heel into the ground, engage the hamstring, pull it back in. One more time. Push out as far as you can. Very slow and controlled. You want to be in control the whole time. Drive the heel into the ground, engage the hamstring, pull back towards your butt. Woo, these are hard. Okay, if you're not at this level yet, do regress this exercise. You're going to place the lid, or whatever you're using, under your left foot. Bridge your hips, keep your right foot planted on the ground. So now we're gonna slide our left foot while keeping support in our right leg. When you're doing these, I don't want you to crutch all of your weight onto your right leg. Still keep a majority of your weight in your left leg so you can get the motion of this down. So we're gonna straighten our leg with our hips bridged, drive the heel into the ground, pull with your hamstring and come back. Straighten as far as you can, keep that core engaged. Drive the heel into the ground, flex the hamstring, pull back. Switch to the other leg. Bridge your hips, plant your one foot firmly. You're gonna slide on your heel as far as you can. Drive that heel into the ground, flex the hamstring, pull back. One more time, drive as far as you can. Drive the heel into the floor, flex the hamstring, pull back. I'm gonna do one more time on each leg. Flex the hips. If you want to move back up into this position, feel free to. If you want to stay down here, that's completely up to you. Push out as far as you can. Try to get a little bit more weight in your left leg. Take that weight off your right leg. Pull back in as hard as you can. So what we're doing is retraining our nerves, what muscles to fire and when to fire them. By decelerating our body, we're forcing our body to control itself instead of just, flopping back into a chair, flopping down onto the floor. We always want to be in control when we're decelerating our motions. Pushing out with the right leg as far as you can. Drive your heel into the ground, flex the hamstring, pull back. If you start to feel tension in your low back, like your low back is getting really worked, rotate your pelvis forward. So bring your abs more together, rotate your pelvis forward and engage your core again. That's going to take that pressure off your back, which is where we don't want it today. Drive your heel into the floor and pull back. And relax. Whew, we made it through the first strength mobility. That was tough. I'm glad you guys followed along. Nice. Okay, got a couple viewers. Maybe some of you left off when I started doing aggressive strength things, but that's okay. Some of you stuck it out, and I hope you guys watch this after you've had a couple more cups of coffee and you're still in your pajamas. we're gonna end with just some loosening up of the hips. So just take them through their range of motion, get a good stretch in there, get everything loosened back up. Do a couple leg swings, so we're gonna go straight forward and straight back. Just get everything moving, get everything relaxed. Get you ready for your long day of being quarantined in the house. The other one, swing back and forward, not aggressively, not to the point where you're falling over, just getting things loosened up. Now let's go side to side. So cross one leg in front of the other. Feel things start to relax. Take a couple deep breaths. Your muscles need oxygen to recover, people. And the other side. All right, that's all I got for you. I'll be here all day in my living room if you need me. Everybody get out and move today. Get out and enjoy the, I don't know, not sunshine, the clouds. I don't know, if you like rain, go enjoy the rain. Okay, bye.